A very good morning to all the participants of this webinar. From DTRTA Lucknow, I am Arvind Mishra, and today is 16th of August 2020. This is a webinar in the series of faceless assessment, and as you are aware that the faceless assessment scheme, which was started in September 2019, it was initiated in 2019 September. It has been taken further, and it has been expanded to the entire department to cover the entire assessment work that will go on in the department from 13th of August 2020. So, to start with, I will take you to the Ministry of Finance CBDT circular that has been issued on 14th of August 2020 after the PM address and release of the notifications on 13th of August 2020 in relation to the faceless assessment scheme. We are starting with this circular that has been issued by CBDT because this circular has been issued in the context of the notifications that have been made in relation to the faceless assessment scheme. So, but before starting with the circular, as we are a training and education department, wing of the department, first of all, let me show you how to get at the notifications. So, you are all aware of this website. This is called e-Gazette. All the Gazette notifications are supposed to be published here. In e-Gazette, it's an online digital copy of the Gazette, the official Gazette of the Government of India. You can see that the Directorate of Printing of the Department of Publication of the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, Government of India, handles the entries that are being made here, and this is supposed to be the official Gazette of the Government of India. So on the first page, when you do the egazette.nic.in, you have to just type that much and press enter. So after typing egazette.nic.in and pressing enter, you will be shown this page which is in front of you, and there is a small announcement here on the front page. We just do an OK on that COVID related announcement, and when we do an OK, we are presented with the first page of the Gazette. So on the left hand side there are certain menus that you can access, and on the right hand side there are some announcements, and in between you are seeing the recent extraordinary gazettes and the recent weekly gazettes. But since there are a lot of gazette notifications coming in from all the ministries and departments, it is better to search. So there is a search facility here. You just press search here, and then you are presented with these options. So here today, as we are searching for the notifications that were done on 13th of this month, 13th of August. So we'll just go search by notification date. So when we do a notification date search, we are presented with a calendar option, and we say, okay, we want it to start from 13th, and let's say that go on up to 14th. and press submit button. When you press the submit button, you're presented with this. There is a list of 24 Gazette notifications that have been made on 13th and 14th of August 2020. As you can see, the names of ministries are written here. So all these notifications relate to the concerned ministries. And since this list is in 2 pages, we'll go to the page 2 first, and you can see that there is here there is a notification which has been made by the Ministry of Finance, and it says that it is in relation to 143(3)(a) of the Income Tax Act. So this is one notification that is of relevance to us. Thereafter, here this one by the Ministry of Finance is on the Customs Act, not related to us, but this one 20 is on the in exercise of the powers conferred by subsections 1 and 2 of 120. So this is also related to this baseline assessment scheme. So there are two notifications here which you can download by clicking on the button out here. And let's go to the page 1. And when we go to page 1, we notice that there is one notification here where the designated authority wide initiation, whereas the designated authority wide initiation notification, this is another notification that has been made by the Ministry of Finance. So this is dated 14th of August. So when you press the button there, it asks whether we can allow to the download of this notification. We say okay. So we just press it again and see, and here you see that the notification gets downloaded. And this is actually related to customs. It's not related to us, so we just neglect it. We don't need this notification. So those were the two notifications which have been made, and they have been published here. Now let's go to the circular that has been issued by the CBDT. Before that, let's go to our website, incometaxindia.gov.in, and here on this website also there are facilities to download whatever circulars etc. are being issued. So for example, if you go to circular here, or rather if it is a notification, then it should be in the notification section. So then we go to the notifications. You can see this 2758 notification. You can also see 2757 notification, and there is one more notification here. So whichever notifications are the new ones, they are being mentioned here. So this is the 13th of August. So supposing we want something for related to 13th of August, we have to just click here and access that notification. This is notification number 60 of 2020, notification number 61 of 2020. Then we have this notification number 62 of 2020. This is the notification number 62 of 2020. Just trying to ensure that we are getting at the correct notifications, all of them. So this is 62 of 2020 and notification 62, and we save it over here. We go back and check out notification 63. And this is an exercise of powers of 120 section under section 120. So we save that also. Notification 63. That is notification 62. Now we go to notification 64. This is another two-page notification 64. Because all notifications are not coming on your WhatsApp groups, we need to go back to the source and check out all the notifications. '64, and then we have the 65. So this is another notification 65. We save that also. And thereafter we have 66. This is notification 66. The saving notification 66 also. So having saved all the notifications, now we go back to where we started off. And I take you to the letter that was issued, this circular that was issued by the CBDT on 14th of August 2020. Now, one by one, we'll take up the notifications also. But when we read those notifications, we should know what is in the mind of the CBDT as far as those notifications are concerned. So here, this circular says that Income Tax Department has embarked on a journey of faceless tax administration. Faceless Assessment Scheme 2019 was announced by the central government, and the National E-Assessment Center was notified in Delhi, and various regional e-assessment centers, which are called REACS, which means that regional e-assessment centers have been notified across 20 cities in the country for implementation of the scheme. Now then, this circular goes on to say that this NEAC and REAC hierarchy will have the task to manage the faceless assessment proceedings, and whatever functions are listed here, they will carry out those functions. All the functions will be carried out through electronic means only, and electronic means that the only gateway will be NEAC, which means that the only gateway will be NEAC, and REAC will not be a gateway for the flow of information. So that means that all information will flow through the NEAC. Now, for example, all the information that is going to the SSE and coming from the SSE will flow through the NEAC, and the REAC will perform the function relating to assessment and verification under the Income Tax Act. But all communications from the department to the taxpayer for the purposes of the Act will be in the name of NEAC. So the SSE would know only the NEAC, that all information is coming to him from NEAC, and whatever he is writing, that is also going to NEAC. So NEAC is the gateway. No communication of any nature such as the above will be made by any of the REAC. REACs will not make any communication of any nature with the SSE. So, and then the functions of the NEAC and the functions of REACs and all the units in the REACs, like assessment unit, verification unit, review unit, and technical unit. These are the four broad units that will be functioning within this framework. And these functions of these units and the functions of the NEAC and the REAC will be delineated in detail separately by the NEAC. NEAC has got the duty to delineate the duties of all these units, what these units will do. And for that, they will have to consult the board. In fact, we saw yesterday in our yesterday's session that day 4 yesterday's session that they will have to seek the approval of the board for issuing all these formats and processes and procedures, etc. But NEAC has the duty to issue the processes. Now, functions that the NEAC and the REAC will perform, those are related to assessment proceedings, and you can also see that their best judgment assessment proceeding and escapement of income assessment proceeding are also included here. Then the verification work, which is related to verification units, that will also be done by the verification units. Then verification units will also do the verification of the centralized dissemination of information by the Directorate of Systems. Whatever information is disseminated centrally by the Directorate of Systems, all that information it requires to be verified. So all this verification function will also be carried out by the verification units. In other words, we can assume here that the work that is being presently done by the INCI wing also would get subsumed in this structure. Thereafter, whenever draft orders are made by the assessment units, the review units have the function of reviewing those drafts wherever that work is allotted to them. Then technical support will be given by the technical units. What exactly the technical units will do, we'll just come to that. And then NEAC will pass and dispatch the final orders. As far as the cadre controlling is concerned, principal CCITs will be the cadre controlling authorities for all the officers and staff in their area. Even for the REAC, central charges, international tax and tax pricing, etc. In respect of the field formations, including the REAC, etc. So the principal CCIT will remain the cadre controlling authorities, and those field formations which are outside the NESE RESE hierarchy will perform the following functions. Like the following functions are being given to the non-NESE RESE hierarchy, and but these functions will also have to be done in a faceless manner. This is very important. The functions which are to be done by the field formation outside the NESE REC will also have to perform their functions in a faceless manner to the extent possible, unless it becomes absolutely necessary. The functions have to be performed, these functions which are mentioned here, they will also need to be performed in a faceless manner. For example, taxpayer outreach and taxpayer education, taxpayer facilitation, टैक्सपेयर का काम आसान बनाना, सुविधाजनक बनाना, टैक्सपेयर के पास पहुंचना, उसको एजुकेट करना। तो जो पहुंचने वाली बात है ये हैज टू बी डन इन ए फेसलेस मैनर। रेक्टिफिकेशन की जो कार्रवाई है तो वो सारे रेक्टिफिकेशन की कार्रवाइयाँ भी फेसलेस मैनर में करनी होंगी। ग्रीवेंस हैंडलिंग, शिकायतों को हैंडल करना, डिमांड जो टैक्स की होती है उसको मैनेज करना, और टैक्सेस को कलेक्ट और रिकवर करने की जहाँ तक बात है। और इसके अलावा जो ऑडिट फंक्शंस हैं जिसमें कि रेवेन्यू ऑडिट और इंटरनल ऑडिट वाले जो फंक्शंस हैं वो फंक्शंस भी नॉन NESE नॉन RESE हायरार्की में दिए जाने की बात यहाँ की जा रही है। हालांकि जो ऑडिट करने का काम है वो वेरिफिकेशन यूनिट्स भी करेंगे, जो हम देखेंगे दूसरे सर्कुलर में ये बात आई है। और शायद ग्रेजुअली ये फिर इंटरनल ऑडिट का जो काम है वो NESE RESE में ले जाने में वो आसानी से वहाँ चला जाएगा। हालांकि यहाँ पर मेंशन हो रहा है कि नॉन NESE RESE के फंक्शन में भी ये ऑडिट का काम आता है। उसके बाद जो जितने जुडिशियल फंक्शंस हैं, अपील फाइल करना, स्क्रूटनी रिपोर्ट बनाना वगैरह वगैरह जो भी है, रिट पिटिशंस, SLP, या जैसे गिविंग इफेक्ट टू द एपलेट ऑर्डर्स हैं, ये सारे काम भी नॉन RESE नेटवर्क के हैं। स्टैट्यूटरी पावर्स जो हैं 263 264 के, ये भी ये बस ये ध्यान रखना ये सारे फेसलेस मैनर में होंगे। इनके लिए भी कह दिया गया कि इसको फेसलेस पे ही तरीके से ही करना है। प्रोसिक्यूशन एंड कंपाउंडिंग प्रोसीडिंग्स एंड रिलेटेड कोर्ट मैटर्स, ये भी नॉन REC के हैं, लेकिन इनको भी फेसलेस तरीके से किया जाना है। एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव HRD एंड कार्डर कंट्रोल मैटर्स इंक्लूडिंग रिलेटेड कोर्ट मैटर्स, जहाँ तक हो सकेगा इसको ये सारे चीज़ों को अगर SSC को कोई अपॉर्चुनिटी देना है तो लिख के दी जा सकती है। अगर SSC कहता है कि हाँ हमको एक हियरिंग दे दीजिए तो उसके रिक्वेस्ट पे उसको हियरिंग दी जा सकती है इन सब मैटर्स में। और अगर चूंकि इसको भी फेसलेस होना है तो ये जो हियरिंग दी जाएगी वो जो हमारे NESE RESE में जो नेटवर्क बनाया जाएगा हियरिंग का, उसी नेटवर्क से भी दिया जा सकता है इस हियरिंग को। केस रिकॉर्ड्स की कस्टडी या मैनेजमेंट भी किया जाएगा, और मैनेजमेंट एंड कंट्रोल ऑफ इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर का जो मैनेजमेंट है, ये सारे जितने भी काम हैं एडमिन के, HRD के, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर के, केस रिकॉर्ड्स और कुछ जो जुडिशियल वर्क होता है, कलेक्शन एंड रिकवरी ऑफ टैक्सेस, ये अभी खासतौर पे NESE और RESE के हायरार्की से बाहर रखा गया है। जहाँ पर भी कोई कम्युनिकेशन इनकम टैक्स प्रोसीडिंग से करा जाएगा, इनकम टैक्स प्रोसीडिंग में किया जाएगा टैक्स पेयर, SSC या थर्ड पार्टी से, उसको इलेक्ट्रॉनिक मीन से ही किया जाना है, और ITBA या डिपार्टमेंट का पोर्टल यूज़ करके ही कम्युनिकेशन किया जाना है। कोई तीसरा इसके अलावा तरीका यूज़ करके कम्युनिकेशन नहीं किया जाना। जो सर्वे का पावर है वो केवल इन्वेस्टिगेशन डायरेक्टरेट्स एक्सरसाइज करेंगे, और या फिर टीडीएस चार्जेस के पास ये सर्वे का पावर रहेगा। और जहाँ तक कि इंटरनेशनल टैक्सेशन के सर्वे की बात है या कोई और दूसरे चार्जेस की बात है, उन जो भी दूसरे चार्जेस अगर सर्वे करना चाहेंगे या इंटरनेशनल टैक्सेशन अगर सर्वे करना चाहेंगे तो उसको कंडक्ट किया जाएगा इन कोलैबोरेशन विद इन्वेस्टिगेशन डायरेक्टरेट। तो बिना इन्वेस्टिगेशन डायरेक्टरेट के कोलैबोरेशन के कोई भी और चार्ज एक्सेप्ट टीडीएस चार्ज कोई सर्वे नहीं कर सकता। और जैसा हम अभी आगे दूसरे सर्कुलर में देखेंगे कि इसके लिए डीजीआईटी का अप्रूवल या सीसीआईटी का अप्रूवल की आवश्यकता पड़ेगी। उसके बाद इसी सर्कुलर में बात आ रही है कि इसको इम्प्लीमेंट करने के लिए बोर्ड ने एग्जिस्टिंग मैन पावर को डाइवर्ट कर दिया है सारे लेवल्स पे फेसलेस चार्जेस की ओर। और जो फेसलेस स्कीम की जो हायरार्की है, अब उसमें 30 सीसीआईटी हैं, 30 सीसीआईटी हैं, 154 पीसीआईटी हैं, 565 अब एडिशनल सीआईटी हैं, 645 डीसीआईटी हैं और 2830 आईटीओ इसमें काम कर रहे हैं। और उन आईटीओ के अटेंडेंस में जो भी स्टाफ होते हैं वो उनके साथ काम करेंगे। बोर्ड ने इन पोस्ट को ऑर्डर नंबर 149 से डाइवर्ट किया है। हम इस पे आएंगे अभी ऑर्डर पे। और एज ए रिजल्ट ऑफ विच जो रेसिडुअल ज्यूरिसडिक्शन है, जो बचा हुआ ज्यूरिसडिक्शन है फेसलेस के अलावा का, वो वहाँ पे 32 सीसीआईटी हैं, यानी करीब आधे सीसीआईटी फेसलेस का काम देख रहे हैं और आधे से थोड़े से सीसीआईटी अब नॉन फेसलेस वाले रेसिडुअल ज्यूरिसडिक्शन में हैं। हालांकि पीसीआईटी का नंबर काफ़ी यहाँ पे 96 है, जबकि फेसलेस में अब 154 पीसीआईटी वहाँ चले गए। जैसे आप देखेंगे हर यूनिट का जो हेड होता है वो पीसीआईटी होता है, चाहे वो असेसमेंट यूनिट हो, चाहे वेरिफिकेशन यूनिट हो, चाहे वो टेक्निकल यूनिट हो, चाहे रिव्यू यूनिट हो। इसके अलावा 252 ये नॉन आरईएसी वाले एडिशनल और जॉइंट सीआईटीज हैं, 261 डीसीआईटी एसीआईटी हैं, 7274, क्योंकि काफ़ी कम नंबर है रिलेट जब हम ये 2830 से कंपेयर करते हैं तो। और उनका जो अटेंडेंस स्टाफ है, जो अप्रोच अडॉप्ट की जा रही है रीस्ट्रक्चरिंग के लिए, उसके बारे में कहा जा रहा है। कुल मिला के जो मैन पावर स्ट्रेंथ है वो जैसे ऊपर रहेगी एनईएसी आरईएसी में अभी के लिए है। और जो ऑफिस ऑर्डर है इशू कर दिया गया है एनईएसी और आरईएसी को सेटअप करने के लिए। और नॉर्म ये है कि जो भी यूनिट है उसका एक हेड होगा, वो पीसीआईटी रैंक के होंगे। और पीसीआईटी के अंतर्गत असेसमेंट यूनिट और वेरिफिकेशन यूनिट में 4 एडिशनल और 4 जेसीआईटी होंगे। उसके बाद 4 डीसीआईटी एसीआईटी होंगे असेसमेंट और वेरिफिकेशन यूनिट में, और 20 आईटीओ होंगे। उसके बाद जो रिव्यू यूनिट है उसमें एडिशनल सीआईटी एक कम नंबर है, लेकिन वहाँ पे डीसीआईटीज़ का नंबर बढ़ा के 4 से 6 करा हुआ है। यही बात टेक्निकल यूनिट में भी डीसीआईटीज़ एसीआईटीज़ का नंबर बढ़ाया गया है और आईटीओज़ का नंबर घटा के 9 कर दिया गया है। तो क्योंकि ये काम यहाँ पे 3 केवल एडिशनल सीआईटीज़ हैं, डीसीआईटीज़ का नंबर बढ़ाया गया है। क्योंकि जहाँ से वर्क स्टार्ट होता है रिव्यू यूनिट या टेक्निकल यूनिट, थोड़ा सा शायद ज़्यादा हायर लेवल का वर्क माना जा रहा है। Then we have the fact that the notification for diversion of the posts वो इशू कर दिया गया है, and in furtherance of the same, now principal CCITs will issue the orders for diversions of the posts of additional CIT, joint CIT, DCIT and ITO up to all the levels of staff. हर लेवल तक के पोस्ट को डाइवर्ट किया जाएगा to the newly created NEAC REAC by issue of order by the principal CCITs. So principal CCITs are going to pass orders of diversion of posts at these levels which are mentioned here. इसके ऊपर के levels का जो diversion of post का order है वो already कर दिया गया है by the board. So an exercise has been carried out already to identify the posts which can be diverted. और उसके बारे में गाइडलाइन ये दी जा रही है फॉर आइडेंटिफिकेशन ऑफ पोस्ट फॉर डाइवर्जन, जो ये बताया जा रहा है कि टू आइडेंटिफाई द पोस्ट फॉर डाइवर्जन टू NEAC REC फॉलोइंग गाइडलाइंस हैव बीन अडॉप्टेड. इन गाइडलाइंस को अडॉप्ट किया गया है. कि एक तो गाइडलाइन ये है कि कम से कम एक ऑफिस हर बिल्डिंग में ऐसा होना चाहिए जो रेसिडुअल हायरार्की में आएगा. रेसिडुअल मीन्स नॉन NEAC नॉन REAC हायरार्की, जिससे कि केस रिकॉर्ड की ओनरशिप और रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी इंश्योर किया जा सके. Which now therefore means that all the case records will be transferred to the residual hierarchy in that particular building, and so that is why at least one office will be there in every building which will have the residual hierarchy and which will have the ownership and responsibility of the case records. Because once the post is shifted to NEAC REAC, all the case records related to that post which were there earlier, which will have to be transferred to one office in that building which has got the residual hierarchy. Now a question will arise that how the case records will be accessed by the NEAC REAC for doing their work. So I believe that administrative decision for that would have to be taken as to how those case records would be accessed by the NEAC REAC, if at all they are required to access it. Because as far as collection and recovery work is concerned, that can go on on the old record which is available and on the basis of the record which is available in ITBA. So not much of reference for the old record may be there, but of course it can never be gainsaid that reference to case records may be required, and for that an administrative decision may have to be taken. Now the jurisdiction of the AO's posts which are selected for diversion to NEAC REAC hierarchy is proposed to be given to another AO who is a non-diverted post in the same building to avoid any transfer of the case records between buildings. So case records should not go from one building to another building. That has to be seen. In fact, whatever case records are lying wherever, they should keep lying there only. But of course, a non-paper transfer of the case record will have to be made to a non-diverted post by the diverted post in that building. Now, in the residual hierarchy, each range will have at least one DCIT or ACIT. Every range will have one DCIT, ACIT in the residual hierarchy. Residual hierarchy is a non-NEAC, non-REAC hierarchy. And there will be 4 to 5 ITOs in every residual hierarchy range. The actual number of ITOs have been increased or decreased depending on the number of ITOs and buildings in jurisdiction that have been merged. Now, while merging the jurisdictions, there might be shortages or excesses depending upon the charge and manpower management as per the enclosed list. Wherever there are excesses or shortages in the rank of additional CIT or JCIT, DCIT, the same may be added to or drawn from the special ranges and the headquarters. This means that for the NEAC and for the REAC, if there is a shortage of the additional CIT and JCIT, DCIT, ACIT, that shortage will be fulfilled from the special ranges and the headquarters. So that in the NEAC and the RAC, no shortage should be there. And they should be fully staffed. with these ranks. In case there are excesses or shortages in the rank of ITO, they will be drawn from TRO and the headquarters. Then after that, residual charges will be renumbered in serial order at a later date once the new jurisdiction settles down, and to facilitate the easy retrieval of the records in the interim period. So the records will have to be retrieved in the interim period till the time these residual charges do not get settled down, and once they get settled down, they will be renumbered properly, and access to record would be allowed from these charges. That is what is appearing from this statement, that records will be retrievable from these residual charges in case they are required. In case of 3 LTUs which have been diverted from Delhi, Mumbai and Chennai, the cases will be transferred by the principal CCID, transferring the cases to one particular charge. Thereafter, it says that the detailed list of the posts identified for diversion have been already enclosed here. I mean, that circular is there that we will see just now, along with the list of residual charges also, which are required to be merged. It is important that the orders for transfer of jurisdiction and diversion of posts at the level of additional CIT to NESE REC units are issued expeditiously. So it is expected that the transfer of jurisdiction orders and the diversion of post orders at all these levels will have to be issued expeditiously, and the list which is attached will be strictly adhered to as far as the diversion of post is concerned. And the summary sheet which is enclosed with the list is to be referred to for detailing the purpose while passing the diversion order, because purpose has to be given that they will be working for NESE and RESE and all. It is also submitted that while diverting and mentioning that a particular additional CIT, JCIT, DCIT, ACIT is converted to a particular unit, if the principal CCIT is of the opinion that the proposal needs modification, they may suggest the changes given reasons. So if any changes are required, the CCITs can always refer the matter up to 17th of August. If any changes are required in these orders while passing these orders, the diversion orders, diversion of post orders, and the transfer of jurisdiction orders. And certain guidelines have been given for finalizing the diversion of posts to achieve efficiency and optimization. ये जो technical or review unit है, they may be kept together to the extent possible in bigger buildings. The verification unit should be spread out to cover large geographical area, so that entire geographical area of the country gets covered properly in a smooth and uniform manner by the verification units. All the orders of divergence of posts and transfer of jurisdiction orders should be passed with effect from 13/8. I mean, they will take effect from 13/8 to 2020. And following orders may be passed by the field charges latest by 19th August in order to give effect to the changes. Then field charges will also pass these orders, like diversion of post order from additional JCIT level up to the level of ITOs, and this is the principal CCIT's order, and then order under section 120 to be passed by PCIT of the residual area hierarchy giving jurisdiction to range heads, because the PCITs will have to pass orders of jurisdiction giving jurisdiction to the range heads, and because certain charges are being merged and removed, so all these orders have to be passed by 19th of August 2020. Then orders under section 120 to be passed by range head giving jurisdiction to AOs. Range head will also pass the range head residual will also pass the orders for transferring the jurisdiction, because so far they were handling particular jurisdiction only. They will have to handle the additional jurisdiction now for the particular functions. So this new orders will have to be passed by all the range heads also. So the principal CCITs have to pass these orders, the PCITs have to pass all the orders, and the range heads also have to pass the orders. And then the posting orders of the officers have also to be passed. So before by 19th of August, all this work has to be completed, which also includes the posting orders of the officers also. In fact, when they are mentioning posting orders of the officers, it means that primarily the officers will be posted to the NEAC and the REAC, and it may be necessary that some people who are working in the charges, who are with the charges which are being cancelled now, will have to be decided whether they should be taken to a residual charge or they should be residual charge, REAC charge. So therefore, this posting orders of officers are interlinked with these uh, orders under 120 that are supposed to be passed by 19th of August. So by 19th of August, all these orders have to be passed, and therefore this is a primarily very very important role that has to be undertaken. Today is already 16th of August, and therefore within these 3 days, uh, all these orders will have to be passed all over India. And the circular it mentions the notifications that have been issued, the notifications which we will be just will see one by one. So that was the letter of 14th of August. Important part is the follow-up orders that are required to be passed at all the levels by the principal CCITs, the principal CITs, and by the range heads. And the posting orders of the officers have to be completed by 19th of the August. Okay, now we go to the two another orders, and I hope that my screen is visible to you all. This order is opening now. Now this is the 13th August order of the CBDT, and this order is issued under section 119 of the Income Tax Act. Now this order says that with the launch of this scheme, baseless assessment scheme, now Income Tax Department is moving towards minimal interface with the taxpayer and aiming to significantly improve the delivery of the services and greater transparency in the working of the department. So survey action is being seen as an intrusive action, something which intrudes into the life of the assessee or the individual or the citizen, and therefore it is expected that the same should be carried out with utmost responsibility and accountability. So in order that the survey action should be done being an intrusive action, because under the survey powers in the office time, the officer having authority and approval can enter into any business premises and take copies and examine accounts and other things. You can do an inventory of the stock, cash, extra valuables. And this is seen as an intrusive action because we are moving towards more voluntary payment of taxes. So therefore, this particular survey action has to be done with a lot of responsibility and accountability. And in furtherance of the above, the CBDT, in the exercise of powers under section 119, hereby it is directing that the officers posted in directorates of investigation, which means the investigation wing officers and the commissionerates of TDS only and exclusively shall act as income tax authority for the purpose of power of survey. So for the purpose of power of survey under section 133A, only these two directorates and the commissionerates, TDS and investigation wing, now can do the surveys. And as you saw, that 14th August circular says that in case other charges need any such survey to be done, then they would have to do it in collaboration with the directorates of investigation. Because Directorate of Investigation has the primary responsibility of investigating and preparing the investigation reports. So no other charges, no other residual charges can do the survey work or take survey action except the Directorates of Investigation and the Commissionerates of TDS. And secondly, the competent authority for giving the approval of such survey action shall henceforth be DGIT investigation for the investigation wing and principal CCIT or the CCIT of the TDS for TDS charges. So wherever TDS charges want to do the survey, they will have to obtain approval either from CCIT of the TDS if the CCIT TDS is there, or otherwise they will have to obtain the approval of the principal CCIT. And without getting this approval, they cannot do any survey. So not only that, that survey can only be done by investigation and the TDS only now, it has to be approved at the level of the DGIT and the principal CCIT and the CCIT or the CCIT TDS. But so far the approval as far as the TDS surveys was concerned was not even required under the Income Tax Act, and only the assessment charges required an approval of the Joint Commissioner. But here neither the TDS charge nor the investigation wing can do any survey without the approval of the DGIT investigation or the principal CCIT or the CCIT TDS. There are some TDS charges which are working under the principal CCIT. So there they have to get the approval of the principal CCIT. And wherever the CCIT TDS is there, the TDS charges have to get the approval of the CCIT TDS. So obviously the number of surveys that would be done now, I suppose it could be opined that the number of surveys will go down drastically, and only in very, very important cases where it has to be done. Without that, we are not able to, and if it may lead to large amount of revenue, for example, then only probably it will be approved. So this is about the survey. Now we go to the next order, 119.2. These are the orders under section 119 passed by the CBDT on 13th of August. So now here it says that due to the e-governance initiatives, Income Tax Department is moving towards the total computerization of its work, so that the work becomes totally computerized. And this has led to significant improvement in delivery of services, and also brought greater transparency in the functioning of the tax administration. Now, it has to be ensured that all assessment orders are passed only through the Faceless Assessment Scheme 2019. The scheme was initiated in 2019 September, and its name at that time was E-Assessment Scheme. But from 13th of August, it has been renamed as the Faceless Assessment Scheme 2019. And the board, in exercise of powers under section 119, has directed that all the assessment orders shall hereafter be passed by NEAC and no other body through the Faceless Assessment Scheme 2019, except the central charges and except the cases assigned to the international tax charges. So these are the only two exceptions now, because perhaps in the central charges the search cases are also going there, and a lot of material is there which is not which is a huge amount of material that needs to be uh, shown to the SSE to get his opinion, or to get his statement on what he feels, whether it can lead to any addition of income to his total income. So meanwhile, because it is work that will need to be organized properly, the central charges have not been put into the NESE REC network. Same thing with international tax charges also. But of course, as has been indicated, more or less they will be working in a faceless way. But since 100% facelessness cannot be ensured probably at this stage of time in central charges and international tax charges, therefore these have been kept out of the scheme at the moment. And any assessment order which is not in conformity with para 2 shall be treated as non-est. That means that if any other order is passed, let's say by any which is passed not under faceless assessment scheme, that order will be treated as non-est, and it will be deemed that it had never been passed. Now this order therefore comes into effect from 13th of August. So this order ensures that no other order has to be passed from 13th August onwards, except through the faceless assessment scheme, and except in the central charges and the international tax charges. So now let's go to this diversion of post order. And see that what it has mandated. Now this is another diversion of post order, and the principal CCITs and the PCITs and the ranges also have to issue diversion of post orders in relation to the lower level grades below the CIT level. Now this order number 149 of 2020, with the approval of Finance Minister, it is mandated that the following, which are posts which are existing posts in various grades of the Indian Revenue Service. The word N is missing here, or perhaps it's a maybe may have been renamed also. But I would like to see that I would prefer it to be written like Indian Revenue Service. India Revenue Service is equally fine. Now the existing posts in various grades are diverted to the newly created NEAC and the REAC. As you can see, these are the CCIT level posts which have been selected to have been diverted, and therefore they are now diverted. You can see that wherever the post name is there, in between REAC word has been mentioned there, and even the number has changed. Like CCIT Delhi 7 is now CCIT REAC 2 Delhi. So existing post gets cancelled and new post gets created. When we say diversion of post, it means that the old post is cancelled and new post is created instead of the old post. So these are the CCIT posts, like CCIT Bareilly is now CCIT REAC Bareilly. So similarly, after the CCIT post, there are PCIT posts here. So as far as CCID posts goes, 26 CCID posts have been diverted, and thereafter the PCID posts have also been diverted. Because out of the existing post itself, no new posts are being created for setting up the NEAC REAC, and by way of post diversion, this new posts are being created. So you can see here the PCID post being diverted. For example, PCID to Lucknow is now PCID REAC AU Lucknow. AU means assessment unit. Every unit is being headed by one PCID, whether it may be assessment unit or verification unit or review unit or technical unit. Now PCID to Lucknow post has been abolished and this new post has been created. So what happens to all those cases which are being assessed in PCID to Lucknow? They will be now they will go to PCID 1 Lucknow, and in every building there will be at least one office which will be the custodian of the records, to whom the records will be transferred. Similarly, PCID to Haldwani is now also renamed, as you can see. If we were to see how many PCIDs, so we see that almost 130 PCIDs have been transferred. One newly created PCID is there, PCID Srinagar. It is mentioned newly created because this is not a REAC post, it is a residual hierarchy post, and a post from Mumbai has been taken away to create this Srinagar post also. And three CIT level posts of the LTUs, of course, have been also diverted similarly. Thereafter, the following posts which were created, these posts were earlier created by diversion of equivalent posts by CBDT's order of 2019, when the e-assessment scheme or the erstwhile face test assessment scheme, when it started at that time, 17/9/2019, on that date, this order was passed by creating all these new posts. These posts were also created in the REAC from the earlier posts which were there in those cities by cancelling those posts. And by this order, these posts have been redesignated. So they have been just the post which was the name of CCIT REAC Delhi, for example, it now becomes CCIT REAC 1 Delhi. So redesignation of the posts has been done of many posts which are already in REAC. About 30 such have been redesignated to be accommodated in the new uh, schema or the arrangement that is being implemented from 13th of August. For example, CIT NEAC is now CIT NEAC 1, because we have more than one CITs in CIT in NEAC, CIT NEAC Delhi, or in NEAC Delhi. So therefore, this redesignation is an administrative redesignation that is also required to be done. Of course, this redesignation will lead to a change in jurisdiction accordingly, but change in jurisdiction does not matter much now, because every case is accessible by every unit depending upon the allocation from the NEAC. So this was a diversion of post order, and similar diversion of post order have to be passed by 19th of August by the PCCITs and the CCITs and the range heads. So perhaps the orders of the PCCITs have to come much earlier, than 19th August, so that even the range heads will get time to pass their orders. Or rather, this exercise can be done on a team basis. Okay, now we just open two notifications for you. The notification number, let us see the notification number 60. So this is the notification number 60, and this deals with the procedure. And we had already covered this procedure earlier in our day before yesterday's lecture. As far as the work of the technical unit is concerned, in there, I would like to point out that the word audit is being added in the work of the technical unit. That means that the work of audit can also be given to the technical unit. Apart from these works which are mentioned here, forensic, information technology, evaluation, etc. Audit work has also been included in the procedure, that work can also be allotted to the verification to the technical unit. Now this we have already done this, so we'll just skip past it because this one we have already done. Now we'll go to the next one, notification 61 of 2020. '60 and 61 are more or less complementary to each other, and 61 just adds on to what 60 says. So therefore, we need not go into that right now because we had covered that in our yesterday's lecture. More probably the 61 we had covered. Come to some of the clarifications that have been made here. We'll go to 62. Recording of day 4 yesterday's lecture is also available our on the group. So now here in this notification 62, in the exercise of the powers under section 118 and 120, CBDT has made the amendments in the notification of the government which was passed in 2014 regarding jurisdiction. So the entire schedule in that notification is being replaced. In the principal notification for the schedule, the following schedule shall be substituted. So the schedule has been substituted. You can see here in this schedule, like wherever there is a PCCIT Gujarat, his headquarters is Ahmedabad, and he has now these four jurisdictions like CCIT Ahmedabad 1, CCIT TDS, then CCIT Rajkot, and CCIT Surat. So now the first one, CCIT Ahmedabad, is mentioned in the second number 2, and under CCIT Ahmedabad, you can see PCIT Ahmedabad 1 and the PCIT Ahmedabad 3. So obviously, some other PCITs like 2 and 4 have been shifted to the NEAC and have been diverted. Now, as far as the second one is concerned, Chief Commissioner TDS. Now he has two CITs, CIT TDS Ahmedabad, CIT TDS Vadodara. The If we go to Chief CIT Rajkot, which is mentioned at number 3 here. Now Chief CIT has PCIT Rajkot 1 and PCIT Jamnagar. So under every CCIT, certain PCITs have been transferred to the NESE. Now then we have CCIT Surat, that is the fourth one here under PCCIT Gujarat. CCIT Surat is there. So there are 4 CCITs under CCIT Gujarat, and the CCIT Surat is one of the CCITs. And CCIT Surat has PCIT 1, PCIT Valsad, and PCIT Vadodara 1. Now this is the jurisdiction now. The earlier jurisdiction has been replaced by this jurisdiction because certain posts have been transferred to NESE. And after transfer, this is the residual condition that now the respective principal CCITs have the respective jurisdiction as mentioned here, and the CCITs have their respective jurisdictions as mentioned here. And after transferring or diverting many other posts to various other charges. As you can see, the principal CCIT West Bengal and Sikkim has CCIT 1, CCIT 2 and CCIT TDS. Now CCIT 1 has only these principal CCITs remaining now: 1, 5, Asansol, 8 and 18. You would have imagined that there would have been up to 18 PCITs, and all those have been taken away to NESE. And the CCIT 2 has 2, 9, 13 and Siliguri. So many other PCITs posts have been diverted. This is a situation after the diversion. So this is the jurisdiction order after diversion of the post to NESE and RESE, which can be referred. This is sort of a new jurisdiction, or you can say new residual jurisdiction of the various PCCITs. Of course, for the administrative purpose, they will be administrating the NESE and RESE officers also. The PCCITs will be administering, and there will be cadre controlling authorities. They will remain the cadre controlling authority for all the PC or the other NESE and RESE officers also in their territorial jurisdiction. So this was order number 62. Now we go to order 63. Order 63 is also passed on the same date and says that CBDT makes the following amendments in notification of 22 October 2014. So in the principal notification in Schedule 1, after serial 67A is being added. So this newly created post is being created, PCIT Srinagar. He will have this headquarter, territorial area, etc. Persons for whom he will have jurisdiction. And thereafter, after clause DA, the following clause shall be inserted. DB clause. DB says that authorizes the principal CITs of the income tax or the CITs, which are specified in column 2 of Schedule 4, having their headquarters at column 3, that they shall exercise the powers and perform the functions in respect of any cases or class of cases of any persons which are mentioned, jurisdiction is mentioned, column 4. And so after Schedule 3, this Schedule 4 has been inserted here and says that wherever PCIT 1 Ahmedabad is there, his jurisdiction will be coterminous with the jurisdiction of the Principal Commissioner of Income Tax 2. So this is the merging of the jurisdictions order. Order number 63 is the merging of the jurisdiction order. Order number 62 was the diversion of the post order, or rather post diversion jurisdiction order of 62, and 63 is the merging of the jurisdiction order. So similar merging of the jurisdiction order will have to be passed by the principal CCITs also for the officers who are subordinate to them. Similarly for the PCIT and similarly for the range officers also. So for example, PCIT Ahmedabad will have the jurisdiction of PCIT Ahmedabad 2 also now, in addition to his earlier jurisdiction. Similarly, PCIT Ahmedabad will also have jurisdiction of PCIT Ahmedabad 5, because all jurisdictions which are mentioned under jurisdiction have been uh, cancelled, and now therefore their jurisdiction has to be transferred to one jurisdiction or to two jurisdictions as per this order. So in all now we have PCIT Ahmedabad 1 and PCIT Ahmedabad 3 and PCIT Ahmedabad. So there are only 1 and 3 in Ahmedabad, and they will be having the entire jurisdiction. But of course, they will not do any assessment work. Jurisdiction doesn't mean assessment work. These jurisdictions will be for the other works which are not being done by NESE and the REAC. For example, the 263, 264 work is there, and various other collection and recovery of taxes and other associated works that were mentioned in the other order also. So this is the merger of jurisdiction order. It can be accessed and it can be seen as to how jurisdictions have been merged. For example, we can see that PCIT Lucknow, because we are sitting at Lucknow, so we can just see here that PCIT Lucknow will have the jurisdiction of the PCIT Lucknow 2 also, and PCIT Lucknow 1 will have the jurisdiction of PCIT Moradabad also. Similarly, PCIT Allahabad has been vested with the jurisdiction of PCIT Banaras, because that post has been now subsumed into the NESE REAC, or diverted to NESE REAC, that would be a better word for it. Similarly, PCIT Gorakhpur will now have the jurisdiction of the PCIT Faizabad. Again, I have to mention that this jurisdiction is not related to assessment. It is only related to the work which is not being now handled by NESE and REAC. So this is the merger of jurisdiction order. Now we go to 64. And in 64, which is also passed on the same day, this order says that the CBDT hereby directs that the income tax authorities of the NESE, which are specified in column 2 below, having their headquarters at the place mentioned in column 3, they shall exercise the powers and functions of the assessing officer concurrently. So concurrent jurisdiction is being given to the NESE to facilitate the conduct of the faceless assessment proceedings, because they will be issuing all the orders. So they are being given concurrent jurisdiction. This is a concurrent jurisdiction order being given to the concurrent power being given to the NESE and the authorities within the NESE to facilitate the conduct of the faceless assessment proceedings in the respect of the territorial areas mentioned in column 4. You can see here like whatever areas were mentioned earlier in the earlier order of 22 October 2014 of column 4, 5, 6 of that order. Now, in respect to all those cases, the jurisdiction goes to the NESE authorities having their headquarters here, as mentioned in column 3. So, all these are the NESE authorities, starting with the principal CCIT NESE, who will be assisted by the ITO NESE headquarters in the office of the principal CCIT of the NESE. This income tax officer NESE headquarter post acquires a lot of prominence here because it is ITO level post and virtually is assisting the PCCIT at the headquarter level. Now then CIT NESE 1 also has its headquarter level officer. Under CIT NESE 1 there are many other additional joint commissioners level officers. You can see one joint additional commissioner level officer and then we have rather two, and then there are some DCIT, ACIT level officers, 4 of them. So these are all the posts of NESE. And there is CIT NESE 2 also, CIT NESE 3, CIT NESE 4. So there are 4 CIT NESE, and they have been given concurrent jurisdiction by this order. Order number notification 64 of 2020. Now we go to 2065. We go to 65, and 65 says that CBDT directs that the income tax authorities of the REAC. The authorities of the REAC have been mentioned here, and the authorities of the REAC having their headquarters in the column number 3, they shall exercise the functions of assessing officer concurrently. So concurrent jurisdiction is being given by this order to the officers of REAC also. Concurrent jurisdiction was given by the earlier order, which was 64 of 2020. Both orders are of the same date. So concurrent jurisdiction is required for REAC officers also, because they are doing duties in connection with the assessment, though they are not interacting with the assessee. So these are all the REAC officers have been listed here. It's a huge list of officers. So NESE is a central body stationed in Delhi, but these are all the REAC officers, and the list is therefore huge. You can see that 4,195 REAC level officers or REAC level posts, you can say, have been identified here in 226 pages in all, who are being given concurrent jurisdiction by this order number 65. So let us go to order number 66. And order number 66 says that this is in pursuance of section 120 and section 133C of the Income Tax Act, and it is and of course read with Rule 12D of the Income Tax Rules 1962. CBDT authorizes the PCITs of the REAC verification unit, which are specified in column 2 of the schedule, and their headquarters are mentioned in column 3. that they will have concurrent powers along with any other authority under the said Act, and they will hold additional charge and act as prescribed authority in respect of such territorial areas or such a class of cases specified in corresponding entry in column 4 of the said schedule, and in respect of all income or classes of income thereof. Now, what is being done here is that the PCIDs of the verification unit are being given concurrent power. Thereafter, the PCIDs of the REAC verification unit are being given powers to issue orders in writing for exercise of powers and performance of functions by the additional commissioner. So the power has to be given to PCIDs so that they can issue orders in writing for the exercise of powers and performance of functions by their additional commissioners or the joint commissioners who are subordinate to them in respect of territorial areas. So the principal commissioners can assign the territorial area to their additional commissioners or joint commissioners. And to enable that, this notification has been issued to authorize the PCIDs. First of all, PCIDs have been given the concurrent power along with any other authority who has been given concurrent power. And there will be also the prescribed authority under the new provisions. And apart from that, they have also been given the power to make orders in writing for exercise of powers and performance of functions, for powers and functions to be done by additional CITs and the joint CITs. Of course, this order also authorizes the additional commissioners in turn and the joint commissioners, because they are also going to issue orders now, that they will issue orders in writing for the exercise of powers and performance of functions by their deputy commissioners or by the assistant commissioners, income tax officers who are subordinate to them. So they can divide the territorial area among the officers who are subordinate to them, so that once what happens is that a case has been assigned to a assessment unit or to a verification unit. Now here, for the purpose of verification, the verification unit officers are being given the powers by sort of delegation, and that authorization is being given by the that they can issue the orders of territorial jurisdiction, orders of class of person jurisdiction, orders of person jurisdiction, jurisdiction based on person, class or territorial areas. They can issue the orders. The joint commissioners and the additional commissioners can also issue the orders here. They have been authorized to issue the orders. So, if you would see very carefully that the jurisdiction which is supposed to be given, it has to be given like this, that all the cases of person in respect of all the incomes within the limits of all the states and union territories of India with respect to whom there is any information in the Directorate of Income Tax Systems, CBDT. So the jurisdiction that is to be given now will have to be given in this way. It is being made very clear, because any unit can do the work of any case. It belongs to any territorial area in India. So we need to assign cases to any territorial unit, any territorial unit. It is not necessary that which comes to a particular territorial unit, a particular assessment unit, it will relate to its own territory. No, because now it has got no territory as such. So every unit has got the entire India as its territory. So every unit can do verification in any part of the country, in all the states and union territories in our country. So therefore, when the jurisdiction has to be given here, the authority for which the jurisdiction is being given, authority for which the power to make an order in writing is being given here, it does not relate to a power where a certain specific area can be given to any officer. No. In the jurisdiction column, only these words have to be written. So it's very simple. This order can be passed as easily as possible, straight away. Not much work to be done to pass this order. So you can see. So the jurisdiction has to be given exactly in this manner that is being mentioned here for the PCITs. So now similarly the verification units who will be doing the verification work, only they will be given this power, this jurisdiction. Assessment units don't need any such delegation because they will not be interacting with the SSC at all. Their work is rather analytical in nature, that's all. Their work is bookish in nature or analytical in nature. No correspondence communication with SSC, no area defined for them. The area which is going to be defined is only for the NESC, that's all. If somebody has raised a hand, so I would like to welcome that person to ask his question. Mr. Raman Murthy. Mr. Raman Murthy, you are most welcome to ask your question. Because you've raised your hand. In case, would you like to ask anything here? Okay. So I believe we can move forward from here. Fine. So these orders have to be passed before 19th of August by the additional commissioners and the joint commissioners and the PCITs and the principal CITs. But the jurisdiction that is to be assigned just as has been assigned in this column 4. Now let us see 12/9/2019 notification. So this was the notification that was issued on 12/9/2019, and this related to the e-assessment scheme that has been renamed into the faceless assessment scheme now. And this was the original scheme that was launched on 12th of September 2019. So just referring you back to this scheme, a few things which are still there because now a few parts of this scheme have been revised, but the scheme as such remains the same, except that its name is now no more e-assessment, it's now faceless assessment scheme. So it talks about e-assessment centers. You can say that there will be now faceless assessment centers. And assessment units, the work has been divided here. The National E-Assessment Center will facilitate the conduct of the e-assessment proceeding in a centralized manner, and it shall be vested with the jurisdiction to make the assessment in accordance with the provisions of the scheme. So National E-Assessment Center has the All India jurisdiction. Even all the verification units will have All India jurisdiction to do verification work. Work of the technical and other assessment units and review units bookish in nature, no interaction with SSC, just analytical work. Then the regional e-assessment centers, board can set up. Board has the power to set up the regional e-assessment center. Therefore, board has set up the regional e-assessment centers. In fact, if the scheme has been renamed into faceless assessment scheme, it would have been better that we would have renamed the regional e-assessment centers also into regional faceless assessment centers or national faceless assessment center, and all the e-assessment centers can be renamed to faceless assessment centers rather than e-assessment centers. And board has got the power here to set up the regional e-assessment centers to facilitate the conduct of e-assessment proceedings in the cadre controlling region of the principal chief commissioner. So this principal chief commissioner, which shall be vested with the jurisdiction to make assessment in accordance with the provisions of this scheme. So these regional e-assessment centers will be set up in the cadre controlling region of various principal CCITs. Of course, that doesn't mean that they will have jurisdiction over that area for doing assessment. Assessment units, what is the work of the assessment unit? They will perform the function of making the assessment, which will include the identification of the points. First of all, number one, identification of points or issues which are material for the determination of any liability under the act. कौन से वो पॉइंट्स है, इश्यूज हैं जो जरूरी हैं, एसएससी की क्या लायबिलिटी है एक्ट में, वो तय करने के लिए. उसके बाद नंबर टू है इंफॉर्मेशन सीक करना या क्लैरिफिकेशन सीक करना उन पॉइंट्स या इश्यूज पे. पहले तो पॉइंट्स या इश्यूज को आइडेंटिफाई करना, उसके बाद ऊपर इंफॉर्मेशन या क्लैरिफिकेशन सीक करना. ये जो इंफॉर्मेशन या क्लैरिफिकेशन है ये एसएससी से सीक किया जाएगा, लेकिन ये जो आरईएसी है, असेसमेंट यूनिट जो है, वो इसको सीक करेगा. सीक करने के लिए एनईएसी को प्रपोजल भेजेगा और एनईएसी सीक करेगा इसको एसएससी से, और एसएससी जब देगा जवाब तो वापस वो असेसमेंट यूनिट को दे देगा एनालाइज करने के लिए. ऑन पॉइंट्स और इश्यूज टू आइडेंटिफाइड एनालिसिस ऑफ द मटेरियल फर्निश्ड. तीसरा चीज है जो मटेरियल एसएससी फर्निश करता है उसका एनालिसिस करना, विश्लेषण करना, और दूसरे जो फंक्शंस हैं वो भी करने के संबंध में जो भी दिए जाएंगे उनको वो काम कर सकते हैं. सो मुख्यतः आइडेंटिफिकेशन ऑफ द पॉइंट्स, सीकिंग द इंफॉर्मेशन और क्लैरिफिकेशन, और ये इंफॉर्मेशन या क्लैरिफिकेशन वेरिफिकेशन यूनिट को भी रेफर किया जा सकता है. फिर वेरिफिकेशन यूनिट का काम ये है कि वो वेरिफिकेशन करेगा जिसमें इंक्वायरी हो सकती है, क्रॉस वेरिफिकेशन दूसरी पार्टी से करना है, बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट्स का एग्जामिनेशन करना है, विटनेस का एग्जामिनेशन करना है, स्टेटमेंट्स को रिकॉर्ड करना है, और भी दूसरे फंक्शंस हैं जो उनको दिए जा सकते हैं वेरिफिकेशन के लिए. सवाल ये उठता है कि क्या वेरिफिकेशन वर्क फेसलेस होगा? Yes, it can be done in a faceless manner, because if a statement is to be recorded, it is not necessary that assessee should be able to see the person who is asking the question. केवल जरूरत यह है कि जो क्वेश्चन पूछा जा रहा है वो उसको सुन सके. असेसी जो जवाब दे रहा है उसको देखना जरूरी है वेरीफाइंग पर्सन के द्वारा, लेकिन असेसी वेरीफाइंग पर्सन को देखे ये कोई जरूरी नहीं. इसलिए स्टेटमेंट रिकॉर्ड करने में इस तरह की फैसिलिटी हो सकती है जिसमें कि असेसी विल नॉट बी एबल टू सी द verifier, but verifier will be able to look at the SSC so that he can know कि उसके जो चेहरे के भाव हैं वो कैसे चेंज हो रहे हैं once a question is asked to him. Sometimes that is an important aspect. बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट्स का एग्जामिनेशन की जहां तक बात होती है, बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट्स एसएससी को कहा जा सकता है कि आप फर्निश कर दीजिए. वंस दे फर्निश इट देन द बुक्स कैन बी एग्जामिन्ड एंड क्वेश्चन कैन बी रेज्ड व्हाइल स्टेटमेंट इज बीइंग टेकन. ऐसे विटनेसेस को भी एग्जामिन किया जा सकता है. टेक्निकल यूनिट्स क्या काम करेंगे? टेक्निकल यूनिट्स जो हैं वो टेक्निकल असिस्टेंस देंगे. टेक्निकल असिस्टेंस मांगी जा सकती है असेसमेंट यूनिट के द्वारा, बिकॉज ड्राफ्ट असेसमेंट ऑर्डर बनाने का काम असेसमेंट यूनिट का काम है या फिर रिव्यू यूनिट का काम है, अगर उस ड्राफ्ट असेसमेंट ऑर्डर से एनईएसी डिसएग्री कर रहा है उनके जो टूल्स हैं उसके आधार पर. टेक्निकल यूनिट का काम है कि कोई भी असिस्टेंस या एडवाइस देना लीगल मैटर्स पे, अकाउंटिंग मैटर्स पे या मैटर्स पे, इंफॉर्मेशन टेक्नोलॉजी मैटर्स पे, वैल्यूएशन मैटर्स पे, ट्रांसफर प्राइसिंग पे, डेटा एनालिटिक्स पे, मैनेजमेंट पे, और यहाँ पर एक वर्ड ऑडिट भी ऐड कर दिया गया है। तो ऑडिट का जो रिलेशन, ऑडिट के रिलेशन में इसी मैटर को ऑडिट के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से भी एग्जामिन कराया जा सकता है टेक्निकल यूनिट्स। मैनेजमेंट के बारे में भी दिया जा सकता है एडवाइस। डेटा एनालिटिक्स क्या करवाया जा सकता है, कोई डेटा आया उसको एनालाइज करके कुछ रिपोर्ट मांगी जा सकती है। ट्रांसफर प्राइसिंग भी एक टेक्निकल इशू होता है जिसमें कि हमको वो प्राइस को डिटरमिन करना होता है, जो आर्म्स लेंथ प्राइस है, उसके लिए कई मॉडल्स का इस्तेमाल किया जाता है, तो ये भी एक टेक्निकल फंक्शन हो जाएगा। जो रिव्यू यूनिट्स हैं उनका काम यह है कि ड्राफ्ट असेसमेंट ऑर्डर का रिव्यू करेंगे जब भी उनको दिया जाएगा, जिसमें वो चेक करेंगे कि क्या जो भी एविडेंस की ज़रूरत थी, रेलिवेंट एविडेंस की या मटेरियल एविडेंस की, वो रिकॉर्ड पे आ गया है। वो ये भी देख सकते हैं कि वेदर फैक्ट और लॉ के जो पॉइंट्स हैं उनको ठीक से ड्राफ्ट ऑर्डर में इनकॉर्पोरेट किया गया है कि नहीं किया गया। वो ये देख सकते हैं कि जो इश्यूज़ हैं जिसपे कि एडिशन या डिसअलाउंस किया जाना चाहिए, क्या उन इश्यूज़ को डिस्कस किया गया है ड्राफ्ट ऑर्डर में। और वो ये भी देख सकते हैं कि यदि जो जुडिशियल डिसीजंस एप्लीकेबल थी उनको कंसिडर किया गया है और डील किया गया है ड्राफ्ट ऑर्डर में। उसके बाद वो अरिथमेटिकल करेक्टनेस भी चेक कर सकते हैं, जो भी मॉडिफिकेशन प्रपोज किए जा रहे हैं उसकी, और भी फंक्शन जो भी इनको दिए जाएंगे वो कर सकते हैं। तो इस तरह से ये फंक्शंस डिवाइड किए गए हैं। प्रोसीजर फॉर असेसमेंट की जहाँ तक बात है, इसमें मॉडिफिकेशन किया गया है जो कि हमारे नए नोटिफिकेशन में है, जिसको हमने देखा था। So with this, I think we have completed a broad analysis of the new provisions and notifications that have been brought into place, and perhaps we'll do one more session on it, but that would be a rather issues-based session after 2 or 3 days, in which certain issues that arise from these notifications that would be discussed. So with those words, we come to an end of this session, and